Hello, and welcome to Cyber Risk Management in Practice. In this video, we're beginning the execution phase of the program, and that starts with one of the most important but often underestimated steps, gathering information. At this stage, we're not jumping into risk analysis. We're focused on building a shared, grounded understanding of how the organization operates today. And that means understanding reality, not just the official version in policy documents or architecture diagrams, but the day to day truth about how things actually work. As we discuss in the book, reality isn't as fixed as we may sometimes believe it is. It's shaped by experience, role, access to information, and internal dynamics. Different people and teams hold different pieces of the story. So before we try to identify risks or assign scores, we need to slow down and take the time to observe, ask, and listen. That means looking at both the internal context, things like systems, processes, governance, and human resources, and the external context, including regulations, economic conditions, industry shifts, and the broader threat landscape. To build that picture, we use a mix of information sources, each offering a different angle. Surveys, these are great for casting a wide net. You can reach different teams quickly, ask targeted questions, and start spotting patterns in how people perceive risk or process maturity. Interviews, these allow for deeper conversations. You can explore gaps, test assumptions, and hear how people describe their actual experience, especially useful when trust is still being built. Workshops. These bring people together to align on processes, dependencies, and priorities. They help surface different perspectives and drive engagement across silos. Site visits. Sometimes the only way to understand how a process really works is to see it in action. These visits give you valuable insight into the disconnect between formal procedures and informal workarounds. Existing documentation. This includes architectural diagrams, CMDB, network inventories, governance models, audit reports, past assessments, any structured source of information that helps map what should exist. Automated scans and dashboards. These tools provide a technical snapshot, vulnerabilities, configurations, endpoint visibility, or cloud posture. They don't tell the full story, but they fill in critical gaps and support validation. You don't need to use every one of these sources in every assessment, but over time, your goal is to build a repeatable approach that combines perspectives, data, and observation, so you're not relying on guesswork or incomplete narratives. And just like everything else in this book, this is an iterative process. Your information gathering practices will evolve. You'll refine your questions, improve your templates, learn who to involve, and when. That's what makes this step more than just data collection. It's about building credibility, deepening awareness, and laying a strong foundation for everything that follows. Once you've gathered input from across the organization through conversations, documents, systems, and tools, the next step is to make sense of it. Because information alone doesn't move the program forward. You need to turn that information into insight, something that supports decisions, prioritization, and action. And that starts with recognizing that our understanding is layered. In the book, we walk through a simple but powerful model, one that helps categorize what we know and what we still need to figure out. Known knowns are the things we're aware of and can confirm, like documented systems, mapped processes, or validated configurations. Known unknowns are the gaps we're aware of. Maybe we know a system is critical, but we don't yet have visibility into its dependencies or security posture. Unknown knowns are the insights that exist somewhere in the organization, but haven't been surfaced, like tribal knowledge in operations or undocumented vendor relationships. Unknown unknowns are the blind spots, areas where we're not even aware there's something missing. This framework helps you map the limits of your understanding, and more importantly, it gives you a way to plan how to close those gaps over time. Now, another tool that supports this sense-making process is enterprise architecture. When done well, enterprise architecture gives you structured views of how the organization works, business processes, supporting systems, data flows, and infrastructure. It helps you connect the dots between business functions and technology so you can understand where value is created, where dependencies live and where vulnerabilities may exist. Architecture models aren't perfect, and they're not always complete, but when they're available and maintained, they provide a valuable lens, especially when paired with interviews and real-world observation. This is also a good point to begin organizing your insights. Using something like a SWOT analysis, you can frame what you've learned in terms of internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats. It's a way to connect what you've heard, seen, and read and translate it into a foundation for your cyber risk work. Because what you've built at this point isn't just a collection of facts. It's a model of how your organization operates and where it might face challenges. And that sets the stage for what comes next as part of the risk assessment process. If this approach resonates with you, there's a lot more discussed in the book. Find your copy and embark on this journey with me, improving your cyber risk management program step by step with a practical approach.